Oh, Fitzmagic, you know, never believe it's not so. Hey, man. You know it's bad when fans are planning to protest so that you can get fired at your team facility. Who else could it be? Me, Louie T. Welcome to the 93rd installment of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Whew. I tried to warn the Jets about this man, Adam Gase. And you look, you know what I'm about. All right. When I'm right, I'm going to tell you I'm right. When I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong too. But I could tell you about this guy because I do a really good job of reading people, and it doesn't take long, okay? And it didn't take long to read Adam Gase, man. You could tell this guy, first of all, he's not a sociable person. He's not a guy that you really want to have in large gatherings, okay? He's one of those guys that's good in smaller groups, and that's why he works so well as a quarterback's coach. Or maybe an offensive coordinator. And even sometimes there you can think, that might be too big of a group for him to handle. But in smaller groups, like working intimately with 3 or 4 guys, i.e. a quarterback room, he'd be really good in a situation like that. Which is why he established such a great rapport with Peyton Manning and Jay Cutler. Because in those situations, he's a guy that's very comfortable. You take him out of his comfort zone and he becomes erratic and irrational. And you've seen that in New York. You saw it in Miami. That's why the Dolphins said, we got to get rid of his ass. The Jets, and this is why the Jets are a really dysfunctional organization. This is a family member that's getting rid of Adam Gase, okay? A family member that said, hey, this guy's bad news. Hey, the rest of you guys in the division, stay away from this guy. He's bad news. And the Jets said, you don't know what you're talking about. Let us find out for ourselves. So they go and they sign Adam Gase. And not only do they sign him, they start giving this man an inordinate amount of power. They start firing GMs because of him. And I'm not saying Mike McCagnon was a great GM, but they start firing guys and they allow him to have a little bit more control than he probably needs to have. And that organization, look, they were already a shit show before he got there. Now they're even worse. And so fans are sick and tired of it. I've never heard this before. This is pretty cool. I like this. Okay. Fans of the Jets decided, you know what? We're tired of this. And, normally fans, they start a petition or something like that. Something that's never going to get any results. Nobody cares. Oh, you got a petition? That's cool, man. That's dope. When Justin Fields started that petition for the Big Ten and they got all these signatures, I was like, oh, man, that's cool. That's what's up. Not going to really affect change, but, hey, a bunch of signatures, a bunch of names on a piece of paper. Pretty cool. That's nice. You know what does get shit done? When people show up places, and it gets things done when it's unannounced. But they said, no, we're going to give you forewarning about what we're going to do. And anybody that would like to join us, please feel free. We'll be protesting outside of the Jets organization at Thursday, 1 p.m. Okay, for anybody that thinks that this guy needs to be fired, head coach Adam Gase, join us. We'll be outside the Jets organization protesting. So when they drive out of work on Thursday, we'll be there and they'll know that we're not happy about this situation and that this guy's a total train wreck and this team is a mess and we look like the worst team in the league and he needs to be fired because he's responsible for all of this. I like it. I really do because Adam Gase is the worst. I've already talked about this already, but I really like that. I'm not a massive Jets fan. Okay. The fireman is pretty cool, but Jets fans don't move me. They don't move the needle for me. They just went up a couple rungs in my book because they're looking to get something done here. Adam Gase will be the first coach fired this season. I think he gets fired in season because, as I mentioned, the Jets are pretty bad. And when is someone going to honestly realize that Greg Williams deserves to be a head coach again in this league? Maybe the third time's the charm for him. Hasn't he been a head coach twice already? Tennessee and Buffalo, right? I'm correct there, right? Or has it been a third time that I'm not aware of? I'm not talking about interim with the Browns last year or 2 years ago. Has he been a coach? He didn't coach with the Rams, right? I digress. He needs another opportunity. Maybe this is it. Maybe he'll get it here because if they fire Gase, the guy in line to be the interim head coach you would assume would be Greg Williams. I don't know if I love the situation that he's going to be put in, if he takes over that job, because unlike in Cleveland where there was a ton of talent, there's not a lot of talent. He's run off a lot of the real talent in New York, like a Jamal Adams, for instance. I don't know if he'll be able to come in there because Adam Gase has done so much to really destroy this organization. I digress. I just thought it was pretty cool that the fans decided that this guy has to go, and they decided they were going to stage a protest outside the Jets organization just to let them know how displeased they are with Adam Gase as their head coach. So at any event, I digress. How you guys doing on this beautiful Friday afternoon? I am doing wonderful. The air smells good. A lot better than I thought it would after losing Thursday Night Football. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show when we start talking about my Week 3 money picks of the week. But air smells really good. Got a gym workout already, so I'm feeling. I think that's why I got a pep in my step. Got a workout in already. Feeling really good about the weekend coming up. Like I'm going to get a chance to relax a little bit. I mean, I've had a chance these last couple of days to decompress a little bit more than normal. I've been so busy trying to get everything done and get everything set up because the season had finally arrived. So I finally got into a nice little groove here and feeling really good. I hope your Friday is going as well as mine to this point. That being said, we got a lot of things to discuss on the show tonight. So let's not delay. All right, let's get straight to the shits, shall we? You know how we start every single show. Don't act brand new. You know what it is. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So, I got to looking at the slate of games on Sunday, and I got to looking at all the teams that are undefeated. And I said, man, that's a pretty hefty list to this point. 11 undefeated teams as we head into week number 3 in the National Football League. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how many of these teams remain undefeated after week number 3. There aren't many of these teams that are going to be squaring off against one another. Only one matchup features two undefeated teams two matchups in week number 3 feature two undefeated teams squaring off. That's the Monday night thriller. We're assuming it's going to be a thriller. Ravens hosting Chiefs, two best teams in the AFC, we assume. We'll see if that holds true this season or not. And Bills hosting the Rams. So those are your 2-0 matchups this week. And so obviously someone's O has to go in those two games. But for the other 7 teams, will they be able to remain undefeated? I'm gonna read you the list of the 11 undefeated teams. And I just got one simple question. Of this list of teams, who is the most fraudulent of this group? I'm not asking you who is the best, or who do you think is going to be good, or who do you think isn't going to be good. I'm asking you who is the most fraudulent. All right. So you may think 3 of these teams aren't any good. I want the one that you think is the most fraudulent, the one that is the worst of this group. So I'm going to read you this list quickly, and then I'll give you the team that I think, when it's all said and done, we're going to look back and say, man, they started 2-0 this season. Man, that seems ages ago. Arizona Cardinals, 2-0. Baltimore Ravens, 2-0. Green Bay Packers, 2-0. Kansas City Chiefs, 2-0. Tennessee Titans, 2-0. Buffalo Bills, 2-0. Los Angeles Rams, 2-0. Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-0. Seattle Seahawks, 2-0. Las Vegas Raiders, 2-0. The Bears, Chicago Bears, 2-0. So of that group, who doesn't belong? That's essentially what I'm asking you. I gave you 11 teams. Of that group of teams, who doesn't belong? Now, this is a pretty good list here. Most of these teams I had making the postseason this year. So a lot of these teams kind of fit where I was heading this, season anyway, in the direction that I was heading in terms of, hey, these are teams that I think are going to be pretty good. There's one team on this list, however, that doesn't quite fit for me personally. Can you guess which one it is? I'll run through them one more time. Cardinals, Ravens, Packers, Chiefs, Titans, Bills, Rams, Steelers, Seahawks, Raiders, Bears. So I'm looking in the comment section and I'm seeing that you guys think it's the Bears. First of all, you must not have been watching me long enough, because I'm a massive Mitchell Trubisky fan. I'm a Mitchell Trubisky apologist is what I am. Let me call a spade, okay? I make excuses for Mitchell. I tell you when Mitch is effing up and when he stinks, but I'm a Mitchell Trubisky apologist. I like Mitchell. I think he's better than people think, and I think he gets a raw deal sometimes. And so I said the Bears were a playoff team before the season started. You guys must not have been following me very closely, because I said the Bears were going to make the playoffs this year. So you should know it's not the Bears. It's not the Bears. I like the Bears. I think the Bears play top-notch defense. Anybody that plays elite defense has a chance. And I think their head coach, Matt Nagy, learned some things last year from a step-back season after winning the division the year prior in his first year. I think he learned some things from a rough season last year. And they had some injuries. They're healthy now. I think the Bears are much better. I'll go through this list with you guys quickly. So the Arizona Cardinals, I told you they were going to be vastly improved this year. This 2-0 start to the season is a bit of a surprise, because I didn't think they were going to go to San Francisco and win. But I'm not shocked that they're 2-0 at this point of the season. I think that division is going to be the best in football. I told you that before the season started. And so the fact that they're 2-0, not a surprise. I think they're going to be a good team this year. I don't think they're going to make the postseason, but we'll see. That DeAndre Hopkins addition really changes things out there. So it's not the Cardinals. Ravens. I don't even really need to explain myself there, do I? I don't think so. Packers. Again, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, a massive Aaron Rodgers fan. Every year I pick the Packers to go 14-2. This is one of the first years that I didn't pick the Packers to go 14-2 or 13-3. Okay, any year that he's healthy, I think the Packers are going to be outstanding. So it's not the Packers. Same can be said about the Chiefs. I really don't need to elaborate on that. I'm just going to keep going. Titans. You could have guessed the Titans. That would have definitely been a good guess. Better than the Bears. Especially if you've heard me talk about the Bears. Titans would have been a great guess, because I don't think they're going to win their division, even though they started 2-0 and the Texans have started 0-2. I still think the Texans somehow, some way, and I might be naive here, and maybe I'm just doubling down on what I said before the season and I don't want to come off of it yet, but I still think the Texans are going to win that division. I'm probably being foolish, because their schedule to start the season was rough, and they're going to get the benefit of some of the games that some of these other teams have played to this point. I think they're going to ultimately have an opportunity to do some things, are the Texans. So we'll see, but at the end of the day, the Titans are a team that I think is going to be good. Not great. I think they're going to compete for a postseason spot. I don't think they're going to win their division, but we'll see what happens with them. But they belong in this discussion. They were in the AFC Championship game for a reason last year, and Ryan Tannehill is showing me some things that I didn't know he was quite capable of on a consistent basis. So the Titans are fine. All right, they'll pass. Bills, you know how I feel about the Bills. They're going to win their division this year. Josh Allen is playing out of his gourd right now. I'm a Josh Allen fan. Bills aren't the team. Rams. I told you there was going to be a resurgence with the Rams this year, that Sean McVay was going to figure it out again and get a step back ahead of the league, or at least get back to doing the things that made them successful the 2 years previous to last year. So you know it's not the Rams. Steelers, they might have the best defense in all of football. Seriously, they're that good defensively. Now, I've got questions about their offense. I don't think Ben is back to where he was prior to the injury. I think he's still getting used to some of the weapons around him. The run game is hit or miss week to week. There's some questions about the offensive side of the football for the Steelers, but where there isn't a question is on the defensive side of the football. And Ben isn't terrible. This offense isn't terrible. So if they're just average offensively with that defense, which they weren't average offensively, they were horrible offensively, and they still won 8 games last year. With Ben Roethlisberger, you really think with the upgrade that they're getting at the quarterback position, if he's healthy, but they're not going to win more than 8 games this year? You got to be out of your mind. It's not the Steelers. Seahawks. Come on now. I could just kind of do the same thing I did with the Ravens and the Chiefs. So I'm going to take this time to elect my Fifth Amendment right and just keep moving. Raiders and Bears are our last 2 teams. And I've already told you, it's not the Bears. It's the Las Vegas Raiders, guys. They don't belong in this conversation, okay? They're 2-0. They could have easily lost to Carolina in week 1. And the Panthers aren't good, okay? Let's get that straight. They gave up 30 points to the Panthers. The Panthers may not score 30 points for another 2 months, okay? Especially with McCaffrey out now. They're definitely going to be struggling to put up points. But you got Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback and you gave up 30 points? That's a little odd. They beat the Saints, and that was impressive, but there was no Michael Thomas. Let's be honest. We saw what not having a number. I think this was a great example. These last 2 primetime games that we've seen back to back. Great example of what not having a number 1 wide receiver, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, really means for your football team. What it does to your offense. The Saints didn't have Michael Thomas on Monday. Man, did they look vastly different on offense. The Jaguars didn't have DJ Chark last night. Man, did they look a lot different than the team we've seen the first 2 weeks of the season. But they won the football game. I'm not taking anything away from them. They went out and they took it to the Saints after a slow start to that football game. But they don't belong in this conversation. They're not better than the Chiefs. They're not better than the Chargers. And I think they're going to be fighting for 3rd place with the Denver Broncos, even though I think the Broncos, with all the injuries that they've incurred this season already, I think they're going to be last in that division now. You know, I had so much high hopes for the Broncos heading into the season. Then Von Miller gets hurt. Then Cortland Sutton gets hurt. Now Drew Lock is hurt. I just think they're going to struggle now with all these injuries. However, this Raiders team is interesting. They're not going to be terrible. Let's not act as if the Raiders are going to be, 6-10, 7-9. They're an 8-8 ball club. Ball bounces their way. Maybe they're 9-7 and competing for a postseason spot. But to think that they belong in this discussion with all the other teams that I just mentioned, these are double-digit win teams. Maybe not the Bears. Maybe not the Titans. But they're a lot closer to double-digit wins than the Raiders are, in my estimation. Because those 2 teams can play defense. The Raiders cannot. Okay, the Raiders still struggle on the defensive side of the football. The Saints shot themselves in the foot. I thought it was a poor game plan by Sean Payton, and I don't say that very often. But the Saints shot themselves in the foot with penalties. It wasn't a great game plan. Knowing that you don't have your number 1 wide receiver, you needed to use Taysom Hill and some of the other guys a little bit more, and they didn't. They just dropped Drew Brees back and said, hey, we'll figure it out. It's the Raiders. We should be able to score 30, and they were wrong. Bottom line is, the Raiders aren't the team that the rest of these other teams are. The Raiders don't belong. Of these 11 teams, the Raiders are the ones that are fraudulent. And I think did you see the next 5 weeks for the Raiders, 6 weeks, including their bye week for the Raiders? Did you see that? The next 4 games? We're going to find out a lot about this Raiders football team. I think I said that after their game. And I was talking to my Raider buddy, as a matter of fact, right before I came on this podcast. And we talked a couple of days ago, and I said, you saw your next 4 games. You do know what's coming down the pipeline. And we're going to find out a lot about them this week on the road at New England. You serious? You want me to eat a little bit of crow? Go to New England and beat Cam Newton and the Patriots. Prove it. You're a much better team. You're vastly improved. You want to change the narrative? Yeah, that was cool. That home opener, new stadium, Drew Brees and company coming to town, Monday Night Football, bright lights, big stage, you perform at a high level. That's great. Prove it to me at Foxborough. And I know it's no crowd. It's prove it to me. All right, the week after that, prove it again. You got the Bills on the road. Prove it. The week after that, you got the Chiefs on the road. Prove it. After that, you go on the bye week. You come off the bye. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the crib. Prove it. And one of those games I mentioned might have been at home. Maybe the Chiefs or the Bills. One of those games is at home. Maybe the Bills game. Doesn't matter. It's still the Bills. It's still the Chiefs. It's still the Bucks. It's still the Patriots. Prove it. You could easily be 2-4 after those 4 games. When we get to week 8 and we look up at the standings, the Raiders could easily be 2-8. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. We'll see. If they're serious, they'll find a way to split those 4 games, go 2-2, and we'll look up in week 8 and say, damn, the Raiders are 4-2. How about that? They might actually be trying to do something this year. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I don't see that happening. Best case scenario, they come out of that stretch 1-3. They're 3-3. And I'm like, they are who I thought they were. They are who I thought they were. And I'm not going to let them off the hook. Anyway, I digress. All right. Let's get to Thursday night leftovers. I don't know about you. We had this discussion already on the pod. I leave my leftovers in the microwave. I don't want my leftovers extra cold, because sometimes I don't even need heat applied to my leftovers. I just go right in. I just dig in, especially if it's a slice of pizza. Not pizza, it's pizza. Especially if it's a slice of pizza or something that doesn't really need to be reheated, I just go in. Now, if it's cold, if I put it in the fridge, now I got to put it in the microwave. So, I don't know about you. I'm going to the microwave to go get my leftovers from Thursday night. What about you? Anyway, I'm heading to the microwave. I open the microwave, and what do I see? First thing I see is Fitty. Did you see that post-game presser that he had? That post-game interview, I should say, on NFL Network? That's priceless. That's so classic Ryan Fitzpatrick. And it's why we love this guy. It's why I told you he's a National Football League treasure. Enjoy him while you can. I don't know how many more opportunities you're going to get to see this guy in a starting capacity. This may be it for him in terms of starting in the league. He may be on another team. It doesn't seem like this guy has quit in him anytime soon. Looks like he's enjoying himself. I don't see him hanging it up even after Tua takes over and his time in Miami is up. Someone will be willing to give him a contract to come back up their starting quarterback because he's been so good at it throughout his career. So if he still wants to play, he'll play. And I've always said the worst thing you can do if you have an established quarterback is sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, because at some point he's going to have to start for you. It's one of the rules that if you sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, something's going to happen to your quarterback and he's going to have to play. It never fails, ever. Okay. I can't think of one time this guy's been on the bench for 16 weeks and never got up. Never. I've never seen that. He always has to play at some point. So I don't know how many more of these we're going to get, but he was so good last night. And that's the beauty of Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's the beauty of Fitty, man. He giveth, he taketh away. He was 18 of 20 last night, managed the game, didn't make any mistakes. That first half, he was unconscious, okay? He was making throws with his eyes closed. Back of the end zone to Preston Williams on that first drive in the end zone for the touchdown. Are you kidding me? That's as tight as it gets in the red zone in terms of a tight window throw. And he zinged it in there perfectly. Even Preston Williams couldn't drop that even if he wanted to. All right. And, all those throws to Devontae Parker and, on those comebacks and those timing routes, he was right there. It was precision. Boom. He was outstanding. He used his legs when he needed to. Put them away with a quarterback draw on a 3rd down and goal from about the 4-yard line or 3-yard line. He was spectacular last night, but that's what we expect from him. You get good Ryan, you get bad Ryan. You don't know what Fitty is going to show up. That's why he's Fitty, because there's a 50% chance that he's going to keep his team in the ball game. There's a 50% chance he's going to keep the opposition in the ball game. You don't know which Ryan you're going to get, but gotta love him, man. So that was my first leftover from last night. You know, he stepped up to the podium or the mic on NFL Network, and he was talking about his chest hairs. I tweeted it out. Darren Rovell on Twitter said that, and he must be watching me because I said that he's a National Football League treasure, and he called him a national treasure. But he tweeted out the video of Ryan Fitzpatrick because, you know, I don't watch that stuff. You know, I don't watch. After the game goes off, I'm jumping on here live with you guys. I'm not watching that stuff. So I have no idea what's being said unless somebody, and that's why socials is so important, so you don't miss anything. So he tweets that out, and I see it, and it's classic Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's got the Miami Vice thing going. You know, if you're in Miami, when in Rome, do as in Rome, okay? When you're in Rome, you gotta follow suit. That's the Miami look right there. You got to go 3 buttons down. You got some chest hair. Go ahead and let that taco meat out there and let it breathe a little bit. And so Ryan had the shirt halfway down, had the taco meat out, and so, you know, they asked him about it. You know, they just clowning a little bit because everybody remembers the Deshaun Jackson dripping post game presser when he had the taco meat out, and it was a classic scene. So they asked him about it, and he's like, look, I realized this is a part of who I am, and I got to let it show, you know, and I had been hiding it for all those years, but this is a part of me. I got to let this show. And he said, so all you ladies out there, I'm taken already. And to my wife, hey, go ahead and put the kids to bed. It's getting late. And then all you heard was, I don't think it was Kay Adams. I don't know who it was. I want to say it was Amber Theo Harris that said, "Hey-o!" That was hilarious. I mean, classic Ryan Fitzpatrick. Love that guy. Man, just enjoy it. That's all I can say. The best information I can give you is just enjoy it. Anyway, my next leftover. Let me take another bite. Number 1 wide receiver and the importance of them. I just referenced it earlier when I was talking about the Saints' loss to the Raiders on Monday night and how different that offense looked without Michael Thomas. There are a number of teams this week that are kind of facing that same dilemma. Now, some teams are going to be able to circumvent the loss of a number 1 wide receiver better than others because their number 2 is a lot better. But in Jacksonville, they're just not ready for that. Their number 2 wide receiver, Keelan Cole, senior, not ready for the spotlight of being a number 1. All right. He's not close enough to being a number 1. I'll give you an example of a team that may be able to circumvent it. The Atlanta Falcons. Now, here's the problem. Julio may not play. Julio may not play this week against the Bears. And that could really sway that game because it's a massive difference when the defense has to worry about where double ace is versus no 11 out there. But Calvin Ridley is as close as you can get to being a number 1 without being a number 1. He's not. I don't think he's ready to be a number 1, but he's one hell of a number 2. And so if he's asked to be the number 1, I think he could handle that well enough. My question then becomes that next guy, and I think that next guy is Gage. Is he ready to be a number 2 option? That's where I think you have the dramatic drop off, and that's where I think the Falcons get hurt. Maybe Hayden Hurst steps into that role and is a little bit more prominent in the offense, but you see where I'm going with this. When you don't have your number 1 guy, it changes the dynamics of your offense because now your number 2 guy becomes your de facto number 1, and now that team's number 1 corner is now assigned to your number 2 wide receiver. And you see where this is going. Their number 2 corner is now assigned to your number 3 wide receiver who's posing as a number 2. It could get ugly really quick if their secondary is any good. So now, you fast forward to last night. No DJ Chark. And I thought Jacksonville was going to do, and this is the problem I have, and I'll cut Jacksonville some slack last night. I won't cut the New Orleans Saints any slack because they had a whole week and an extra day to prepare for no Michael Thomas. He hadn't practiced all week. They knew he wasn't going to play. You know, they could sit here and try to act as if they thought he might be able to go. They knew he wasn't going to play. They had time to put in an offense that was Michael Thomas foolproof. And they didn't. Jacksonville had a short week. They didn't know or not if DJ Chark was going to play. He was literally up to 2 hours before the game where they finally ruled him out. But they didn't have a lot of time to get cute and scheme up some things to get guys like Laviska Shenault more involved. And so they suffered. That did not look like the Jacksonville Jaguars offense that I had watched the first 2 weeks of the season. And I'm telling you, a lot of it stems from the fact that they didn't have their number one wide receiver, DJ Chark, available in that football game. And it's amazing. Devontae Parker plays, conversely. He said, look, I played 16 games for the first time last year. I don't want to miss any more games. If I can get up and walk and I can run, even though you can tell he's nursing that hamstring. He's not going full speed. He's probably about 75% out there. This week and a half that he's going to have between games after having a Thursday night go is going to be great for him. But he still went out there and performed. And you know what that does? Is it properly slots Preston Williams and Ford and all these other guys that they have at the receiver position. It properly slots them. If he doesn't play last night, he was so good, especially in the first half. How many times did he catch balls? Crucial situations on those first two possessions of the game. I mean, he had 5 catches for 69 yards. I'd venture to say all 5 of those catches came on the first 2 to 3 possessions when they scored touchdowns on all of those possessions. We didn't hear from him, but it was important that he was out there because Fitzpatrick was going to him early in this game and often. If that's Preston Williams, they're in trouble. If that's Ford, they're in trouble. But it wasn't. They had their number one receiver, and it made everything else work. So that was another takeaway from the game last night. We move on to the next leftover. I'm taking another bite. Rookie running back James Robinson for the Jacksonville Jaguars is legit. 2 touchdowns last night. Caught the football effectively out of the backfield. Ran through contact. Yards after contact was through the roof for him. Plays a physical brand of football. And he's quicker than I think a lot of people realize. He's not a burner. He's not a blazer. That's part of the reason he didn't get drafted. But he's quick. He's decisive. He gets downhill. He finishes runs. He's got a little bit more speed than I think people give him credit for. But his quickness is really good. I like him a lot. I really do. I liked him the first 2 weeks of the season. I like him even more after week 3. He was impressive last night. And really, to be honest with you, he was the only offense Jacksonville had last night. It was not pretty offensively, and he was the one bright spot they had on the offensive side of the football. Gardner Minshew. Let's take another bite of these leftovers. Gardner Minshew. That wasn't pretty last night. That was unimpressive is what it was. Let's call a spade a spade. And I get it. I talked about DJ Chark's absence and what that meant for the offense. But he is fighting for his life as an NFL starter this year. He can't have those types of performances last night. He looked like a deer in headlights at times. There were times where I'm like, Gardner, you can't take that sack, bro. Like, there was one play. He's got a shallow cross coming across the football field, and his guy's wide open. And look, I don't know if he's going to get a first down on this play or not. It doesn't matter. It's 3rd down and about 6. You throw that shallow cross. Matter of fact, I think it was 2nd down. 2nd down and 6. You throw that shallow cross, he'll get at least 4. Now it's 3rd and 2. He keeps backing up and he takes a sack. Why did you eat that? Now it's 3rd and 11. I think it ended up being like 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 16. Something crazy like that. They ended up having to go for it on 4th down. They didn't get anything on 3rd down. And then they had to go for it on 4th down. And they failed. And that was the play where they threw it to Robinson underneath and he catches it. And I thought he got the first down, but they said it looked like his arm went down initially. And I thought he was right at the line to gain. And they said it wasn't enough to overturn it and that they didn't have the first down, whatever the case may be. It was a poor decision. And then we all know about the missed throw to Connolly when he was wide open, on the fake. And he did a great job of faking the bubble, forced the Dolphin defenders to bite on that. And then he had pressure in his face, so he did not get to step into that throw. He didn't get to put it where he wanted to, but you got to give your guy. You can't throw that ball out of bounds. It'd be one thing if you threw it a little too far out of the reach of Connolly. You can't throw that ball out of bounds, though. Like, Minshew was not good last night. He wasn't. He's fighting for his life because if he loses this job, he might not get another chance to start in this league. He's a quarterback. He's an NFL quarterback. That's for sure. Will he get another chance to start though, and be the guy like he is in Jacksonville right now? I don't know the answer to that. He's got to perform better, and he's got to win as many games as possible. Now, look, if Jacksonville wants to, they've got the ammunition to move up. So that with the Yannick Ngakoue trade, the Jalen Ramsey trade, they got plenty of ammunition. If they want to move up, if they finish 6-10, and that's good enough for the 13th pick in the draft this year, they got plenty of ammunition to get up to number 2 or 3 or even number 1 if they want. So he can't prevent them from getting a guy if they're not sold on him. But what he can do is make that decision a lot tougher, because Jacksonville didn't trade away Yannick Ngakoue. They didn't trade away Jalen Ramsey just to give those picks to someone else so they can come up and draft a quarterback. If he can win 6 or 7 games this year, he'll make it tough on them because they're not going to be in a position to just take a quarterback. They'll have to make moves to do that. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to surrender the draft capital that it's going to take. So it's his job to make sure that they win as many games as possible, because if they end up 3-13, 4-12, and they end up with the 5th or the 6th or the 3rd or the 2nd pick in the draft, he's gone. They're going to take a quarterback. And that's it. Once they draft that guy, you are now a backup in this league. You may be a bridge to that quarterback. You may start out the season, but eventually they're going to come calling. They're going to bring the hook. And if that next coach, because if you go 3-13, Doug Marrone is fired. Hell, if you go 6-10, Doug Marrone may still get fired. And you've got to understand that the next coach has 0 ties to you, unless that next coach is Mike Leach, and it's not going to be Mike Leach. That next guy could care less about what you've done in this league to this point. He just knows, I've got an opportunity to clean the slate and get a guy that I want to get, that I want to draft. And it's not going to be you. It's going to be one of these guys. It's going to be Trey Lance. It's going to be Justin Fields. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be one of these guys. It may even be Jamie Newman for all we know. It's going to be one of these guys. It's not going to be you. So if you're Gardner Minshew, you've got to play better. You can't have games like this, especially against oppositions like Miami. And I don't want to discount Miami. They played really well last night. They're a much improved team. Speaking of which, my last leftover from last night, Miami versus Jacksonville. Nope, I'm not talking about the game. That was 31-13. We all know the final score there. Looking at these two organizations in the direction that they're heading in, which one would you rather be right now? Which one of these is further ahead than the other? You know, I started thinking about that after the game last night, after the conversations that we had on the live show after the game last night. And I said, which one of these organizations would I rather be a fan of right now after watching that game and kind of looking at the state of where they are? Last year, Miami was a mess. And it felt like Brian Flores didn't really know what he wanted to do. He just knew he didn't want to do what they were doing. You know, whatever it is they were doing before I got here and some of the stuff that kind of spilled over to when I got here, I don't want to do that. I want to do it my way. And so he started getting rid of all the people that didn't want to do it his way. You know, whether it was Kiko Alonso or it was Fitzpatrick. You know, he started getting rid of guys. Oh, you don't want to do it my way? Jay Ajayi? Okay, get your ass out of here then. You know, Kenyon Drake, you don't want to be here either? All right, peace, deuces. He started moving guys. And I think Jay Ajayi was gone before he got there. That's nor here nor there. I think Kenyon Drake was the guy I was thinking about. He started moving guys. A bunch of guys were like, man, they're getting rid of all their talent. But now he's got a team that believes, that is buying in to what he's selling. And they're going in the right direction. And I look at Jacksonville, and they had a chance to do this last year. They had a chance to start over, figure it out. They did it the right way, though, because if you weren't going to draft a quarterback and they were at 9 and you weren't really in a spot to draft a quarterback, I mean, you could have theoretically drafted a quarterback if you wanted to. But if you didn't love the quarterbacks in that draft class and you didn't want to spend the draft capital to maybe move up and get one of the guys like the Oregon quarterback that's in Los Angeles for the Chargers, Gosh, I can see his face. I can't think of his damn name. Anyway, if you didn't want to move up to get any of those guys, Tua or any of those dudes, then you just said, look, because what you didn't want to do was draft a quarterback and have it be similar to what happened in Washington with Jay Gruden and Dwayne Haskins, where you got a coach that's like, look, I'm in the last year fighting for my life, essentially. I'm a lame duck coach. Even though I got another year on my contract after this year, I'm a lame duck coach. I know what it is. I know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for my job. I'm fighting for my life as the NFL head coach right now. If I don't win this season, then I'm gone. So I'm not looking to start a rookie. I'm not looking to give rookie reps in practice. I'm not looking to bring this guy along because I'm not going to be able to actually enjoy the fruits of my labor. If I get this guy ready, I'm getting him ready for the next guy. That's not my job. That's not my prerogative. I'm trying to win now. So if you go out, you bring in a new coach this season, but he doesn't have a new quarterback and he's stuck with Gardner Minshew and Minshew isn't his guy, at least you can say, hey, next year you can draft your guy. But if you were to draft a quarterback in this past year's draft and you stuck him with head coach Doug Marrone, who's trying to win because he's looking to salvage his job, so he's not looking to give that guy any reps. He's not looking to bring that guy along. He's trying to win. He's trying to save his job. Justin Herbert is his name. That's what I'm thinking of. He's not looking to bring Justin Herbert along. He's not looking to try to help him, get better as a quarterback. He's looking to save his own job, which is what Jay Gruden was trying to do last year. He's not looking to develop Dwayne Haskins. He's going to roll with one of these veterans that's going to give him the best chance to win. And so instead of kind of confusing that situation and clouding it up and making it murky and mucky, they just said, we're going to roll with what we had last year. And if you can't win, then you're gone. And more likely than not, Gardner Minshew's not our starting quarterback either. He'll be out of there. So I look at these two organizations and I say, man, Miami looks pretty damn good right now. I'd say Miami, even though I talk about this all the time. I love Jacksonville's ability to draft. I think they got some young, talented football players. But it's just a collection of stuff. Like, there's no purpose, there's no direction right now in Jacksonville with their stuff. It's just a bunch of stuff. And until you actually get all that stuff and have it all moving in the same direction, you just got a bunch of stuff. It's talented stuff, but it's just stuff. Miami has all of their stuff going in the same direction. There's a blueprint laid out by head coach Brian Flores. All right. By GM Chris Greer. They've got a blueprint laid out. This is the direction we're heading in. Either you can get down or you can lay down. But we moving on without you, with or without you. So they're all moving in the same direction in Miami. We know Tua is the future. They drafted a bunch of offensive linemen. They're playing right now for Ryan Fitzpatrick so that when Tua gets in, they've got the experience necessary so that they won't get him killed. I don't know what the hell they're doing at the running back position, but I do know that they've got some receivers. They got some tight ends. The offensive line is getting good experience. And so when Tua gets in there, they're ready to rock and roll. The defense is vastly improved. They still need some pass rushers, but they got some good linebackers. They got an excellent secondary when they're healthy. They're going in the right direction. I see what Miami is doing. I have no clue what Jacksonville is up to. And because of that, I think Miami is ahead of Jacksonville right now. I think Miami, I would much rather be a fan of the Miami Dolphins than the Jacksonville Jaguars at this moment. And I didn't think I would say that. Even though when before the season started, I thought Jacksonville was going to be one of the worst teams in football. And they still ultimately may be. But after the first 2 weeks, I was like, man, Jacksonville has a chance. But, after watching them last night, and again, I understand the dynamic of no DJ Chark. Even if they had DJ Chark, I still would rather be Miami right now. I don't know. What says you? Anyhow, let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. You know what it is. It's Friday. My money picks of the week.
Money. Yeah. Money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It wasn't last night, though. Damn sure it wasn't a good pick last night. So this is the first time of the season, and it's not going to be the last, that I didn't get off to a 1-0 start, that I didn't pick Thursday night correctly. And I ain't gonna lie, that shit hurts. Kills my confidence going into the weekend. And it shouldn't. It's just one game, right? This week seems like it's a lot easier to pick. But because I lost Thursday, I lost a little bit of confidence. Like, I'm looking at that Giants 49ers game and I'm saying, man, did I do the right thing here? Are the Giants really going to fall to 0-3? Are they really going to lose to Nick Mullins on Sunday? Like, I'm really second guessing myself. The 49ers are the walking wounded right now. Like, did I really do the right thing here? After you lose on Thursday, you start having irrational thoughts. And that's where I'm at with mine right now. But I must say, after 2 weeks, your boy is 26-6 on the season. All right, so I'm killing the game. 13-3 in the first 2 weeks, each week, respectively. And I'm 2-0 on my survivor picks of the week as well. So I've been hot. Sizzling. Hot like fire. However, a wise woman once told me, all good things must come to an end. I'm not trying to hear that right now, though. It doesn't have to end right now, though. But after Thursday Night Football and taking a nice fat L, I'm not off to a good start. That's for damn sure. Let's get into these picks, man. So I'm down 0-1 right now. It's okay. I'm gonna bounce back. But I told you this next game, San Francisco at the Giants. I don't know if I'm on the right side of this one, man. 49ers lost 5 starters last week. 5 of them. 5 guys that play significant snaps for them. Bosa and Thomas are gone for the season. Jimmy Garoppolo is out of this game. Probably going to be out next week, too. They're trying to make it seem like he'll be back next week. We'll see. He's a quarterback. High ankle sprain may not impact the quarterback position as much as it does, a running back or a receiver or someone that actually has to cut on that ankle. But we'll see what happens with that. Both of their running backs that play significant snaps, Raheem Mostert, who to me was the MVP of the first 2 weeks of the season, he's out. Also, Tevin Coleman is out. That's 5 guys right there that are key contributors to this football team. Not to mention Dick Sherman was already out. George Kittle was out last week. He's going to try to make a concerted effort to play this week, especially with some of the guys already out. They need all hands on deck that they can get, but he may not go this week. Man, the Giants stink. I mean, I've already done it. It's not like I could change my mind now. I mean, I could theoretically change my mind for the show, but I'm going to go with the picks that I put down on winners and losers. So, these are the picks that I'm going to stick steadfast to. But, boy, after losing Thursday, man, and seeing what happened, what injuries can do to you, and seeing what happened in New Orleans on Monday, I don't know about San Francisco, man. The one thing I could hang my hat on was, worst case scenario, and this is what I did in the Bears game last week. Worst case scenario, at least I know the Bears going to get after, Daniel Jones, and he's going to turn the ball over because that's what Daniel Jones does. Under pressure, he's going to turn it over. He turned it over twice last week. We knew that was going to happen. I think he turned it over 3 times. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble. Like, we knew that was going to happen. But is that going to happen this week, though? With all the guys injured on San Francisco's defense? I'm not sure, man. I took San Francisco anyway. I can't turn back now. Got the 49ers. I can tell you this. No Saquon Barkley. Hurts the Giants, obviously. They're missing Sterling Shepard, who got injured last week. He's not going to be available for this game. So they already didn't have receivers to begin with. They couldn't afford to lose a receiver. So, and that's their best receiver. Maybe Slayton is making a run at that, but at the end of the day, they're hurting too. Are the Giants? They're not immune to all of the injuries that happened last week. They had some significant ones themselves, but at the end of the day, I'd take San Francisco's defense and run game, and they're going to stick the secret weapon Jerick McKinnon back there, and they signed Ziggy Ansah to come in. He's not going to have an impact. He's not. At the end of the day, their defenses should be still good enough to rattle the cage of Daniel Jones, force him into a couple of mistakes. They don't need much from him. Just 1 interception, maybe a fumble 2, and that should be enough. You don't have to go in there and reinvent the wheel. Go in there, score 24. That should be enough to take care of the Giants. The Giants have they even scored 20 points this season? They might have against Pittsburgh. At the end of the day, I'm taking the 49ers. Running the football and defense travels. They still have enough to do both of those things against the Giants, and I think they will, and they'll win this football game. Nick Mullins cannot turn the football over, though. He cannot try to do too much. If he just manages the game and allows the run game to take him where he needs to go, hits the open receiver. If they want to give him check downs, take the check downs. You got a really good field goal kicker. If you got to field goal these guys to death, do it. But just don't turn it over. Give me the 49ers. Washington football team at the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to save this one for my show later on tonight. So I'm not going to give you this one now because I know I got some Washington football fans out there watching, and I need the suspense to be palpable later when I reveal my pick for this one. So I'm going to leave that one for later on my show. But Cincinnati at Philadelphia. This is another one I stared at for a very long time. A very, very long time because Philadelphia stinks. You know, it hurts my soul to know that week 1 win that Washington got is diminishing by the week. You know, that when we first got the win, we just beat the NFC East champions from a week ago. Carson Wentz, who was a stud, we made him look really, really regular. And then the next week, Carson Wentz looked really, really regular. And the Eagles looked really, really funky. And I'm like, maybe we just beat a bad team. I don't know. At the end of the day, much like Miami, do you really see the Eagles going to 0-3? I don't. But I could see Joe Burrow going in there and slicing and dicing that defense. I could see Carson Wentz continuing to struggle, getting inside his own head. Everybody's asking, what's wrong with Carson Wentz? If he's listening to this outside noise, he can start getting in his own head, start making some mistakes. Alshon Jeffrey, never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. He practiced this week. He looks like he's on track to play. That's a big help for them. Can the Eagles really lose to the Cincinnati Bengals at the crib? No way, right? No. Yeah, the Bengals scored 30 last week, but the week before that, they scored 13. You really think they're going to score, 27? And look, the Eagles haven't scored 20 points this season yet. All right. This is what I'm talking about. This is what happens when you lose on Thursday night. You start second-guessing stuff that you shouldn't be second-guessing. But in my mind, in my heart of hearts, I say, look, Cincinnati is supposed to be bad this year. But I also told you they're going to win more games than people think. And if you're going to win more games than people think, you have to win games that people don't think you're going to win. And this is a very winnable game that a lot of people don't think they're going to win. There are a lot of people that are out there saying, why not? Philadelphia stinks. They 0-2. Why not? I'm thinking the same damn thing. Why not? But my head says, bruh, you tripping. That's a family member right there. Don't disrespect the family like that. There's a lot of times you can disrespect the family. This isn't one of them. Don't do that. And I'm not. I'm going to take the Eagles in this football game. You get Alshon Jeffrey back. You're desperate. You're in full desperation mode because you can't go to 0-3. You can't. You go to 0-3, your season's over. It's done. It's dead. Okay? And this division isn't very good. Doesn't matter. You go to 0-3. And all respect for the Philadelphia. And with that third loss being, because look, ultimately, you lost to a 2-0 Rams team and a 1-1 Washington team that looks like they're improved. You lose to the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals at home, who is trying to figure things out, a young football team, young head coach. You lose to them at the crib, you're dead. Dead, I tell you. They're not doing that. Give me the Eagles at home to get off the schneid and get their first win of the season. Oakland at New England. I just issued the challenge, and I issued a challenge similar to the one I'm issuing now to the Raiders, and they stood up and responded to that challenge. Challenge accepted. They passed the test last week. It's a different test. This is Cam Newton, a much better Patriots defense than the one you saw on Monday against the Saints. That's not going to allow Darren Waller to have 12 catches. I assure you, Bill Belichick, if he has to, he will take Stephon Gilmore and put him on Darren Waller if need be. But he doesn't have to do that. He'll put J.C. Jackson on him before he puts his best corner on a tight end. But we've seen him do that before, i.e. taking Aqib Talib and putting him on the opposition's best tight end when Jimmy Graham was in New Orleans. He did that then. Like, he has no problems taking his best corner and putting him on your tight end if that's what he has to do. So he's not. Translation. What I'm essentially saying to you is he's not going to let Darren Waller beat him like the Saints did. And then you get in Cam Newton, who showed us something that we didn't know he was capable of in a New England Patriots jersey, which is I can take over the game with my arm if I need to. We thought, oh, shit, here comes Cam. Cam looks like a running back that just happens to throw the football every 3 or 4 snaps. But he's a running back there. And they reminded us on Sunday night last week, oh, no. Cam can still throw the football. Don't get it twisted. 44 attempts. All right, 30 of them complete for 397 yards. No, he can still throw it if he needs to. And last time I checked, the Raiders don't really do a great job of stopping the run or the pass. So, I mean, I think the Patriots are going to have some success. Enough to get the win. And, you know, what's going to be really interesting is how they handle the success of being 2-0. A lot of people starting to talk about the Raiders. Are they for real? And another thing that I want to see is, can you get the football to other guys? And it was cute. 11 different targets for Derek Carr. He spread the football around, spread the wealth. That's great. But when the game was on the line, when they needed a conversion, they just went to Darren Waller every time. Well, I'm telling you that Bill Belichick is not going for that shit. So on 3rd and 7, you can't force it to Darren Waller against the Patriots defense. It's not happening. Who is going to step up and convert on 3rd and 7? Who's going to step up on 3rd and 5? You're going to have to find somebody else because it's not going to be Darren Waller. I assure you, we will look at the box score after this game. Darren Waller will not have 12 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. I assure you of that. Darren Waller might have 5 catches, but it'll be for 36 yards and no score. Okay? He will not have the impact that he had on Monday. Somebody else is going to have to step up. I don't know who that guy is going to be for the Raiders. And I don't think they can stop the Patriots offense. And that sounds crazy to even say because the Patriots offense isn't a juggernaut, but that's an indictment on the Raiders defense. That's essentially what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have any confidence in their defense. Give me the Patriots at the crib to take care of the previously undefeated Las Vegas Raiders. The Bears, Chicago Bears, 2-0 Chicago Bears. Put some respect on their name. That ain't Mitch Trubisky. That's Mitchell. His mama named him Mitchell. I'm going to call him Mitchell. Trubisky leading the undefeated Chicago Bears into Atlanta. Look, I just talked about a desperate Philadelphia Eagles team at 0-2. After last week's loss, you don't get much more desperate than the Atlanta Falcons. And I talked about Adam Gase getting fired. What about Dan Quinn? Man, you talk about blown leads. That's 2 of the most hurtful blown leads we've seen in the last 5 years. Both coming from the same head coach. Super Bowl 3 years ago, 28-3. I don't need to remind Falcons fans of that. And then that game last week, that was a travesty. That was a farce. Okay? You should be 1-1 right now. Instead, you're 0-2 and you're fighting for your life. And so this Bears team, they don't give a damn about what you did last week. They don't care. And they play defense. And Khalil Mack is coming, and you got Mitch McGary that probably is not going to play with a sprained MCL, and your defense can't stop a wet paper towel, and all of a sudden now Takk McKinley's hurt, and he was playing actual good ball when the season started. He's got a groin, and biggest of all, Julio! He looks like he's got a hammy, and he might not go. I'm nervous, because when I first looked at this, the Falcons going to win this game. Now I'm like, are they? Really? I don't know, man. And this is what happens when you lose on Thursday, man. You start second guessing everything. Now all possibilities are thrown into the mix. And I'm looking at the Bears and I'm saying, look, they can't score any points. The Falcons should be able to outscore them. They should be able to score, 30 in this game, and the Bears can't keep up. But then I said, well, how the hell are you going to get to 30 without Julio Jones? Without your right tackle? How you plan on doing that? Huh? I don't know. Don't ask me. Why? Look, why are you asking me questions I don't have the answers to? I just told myself, don't ask me. Stop asking. I don't know. Stop asking. Just do it. I just picked the Falcons. They're at home. They're not going to fall to 0-3. The Bears are 2-0. They don't need this game. They want this game. The Falcons need this game. This is not optional. If you do not get this, we have a problem. This is training day for them. They don't get this win, their season, much like the Eagles, effectively over 3 weeks in. You're dead. Dead, I tell you. So they got to have it. The Bears want it. The Falcons got to have it. That's next level desperation. You never want a team that's backed into a corner at home to have to go and try to get one from them. And that's where the Falcons are. And I just don't see the Bears coming out of there with a win. Give me the Falcons, even though I am not sure about that pick. Rams at Bills. This is a marquee matchup for me. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. I don't know why. 2-0 teams squaring off. One of the hottest offenses in the Rams taking on one of the hottest quarterbacks in all of football in Josh Allen. This is going to be fun because you're going to get two really good young coaches in the league in Sean McDermott, who's a defensive-minded guy, going against Sean McVay, a very bright offensive mind, kind of locking horns here, for lack of a better term and phrase. And this should be fun. You know what? Locking horns makes sense. I'm talking about a Buffalo and a Ram. You see what I did there? And I didn't even mean to do that. Damn, I'm nice. Anyway, I digress. This should be fun. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be the game that I put on the opposite TV of Washington at 1 p.m. on Sunday. This is going to be the other game that I'm going to be watching. This one, I've got a little bit of anticipation for this. This one's going to be good. And I went back and forth on this one because the way the Rams are playing offensively right now, they're tough to deal with. That play action fake, they're back to doing the things that made the Rams in 2018 when they went to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff is back to playing with the level of confidence that he had in 17 and 18. That offensive line is healthy. They weren't last year. Now, they got some injuries to the running back position. You know, they may be down to their third running back in Henderson. But when it's all said and done, why do I keep calling him Henderson? What is his damn name? His name is it Henderson? Yes, it is Henderson. It's Darrell Henderson. Right? I think I'm right. I think they got a shot to go into Buffalo and win. I think what the key to the game is going to be when it's all said and done is, can they block Aaron Donald? If he's able to molest Josh Allen, Allen's going to make some mistakes. He does. For as much as I love Josh Allen, and you know I love me some Josh Allen, he's prone to making some boneheaded mistakes. Fumbles when he shouldn't be fumbling, some throws, some, YOLO throws. We've seen those from him too. There have been a lot less of those this year, those YOLO throws, but they're in there still. Those haven't gone away completely. Those fumbles have definitely been prevalent this year. If Aaron Donald's able to harass him a little bit, I could see Josh Allen having a struggle of a game. But I'm going to put my confidence in this Bills football team because, as I stated earlier in the show and have been stating all year long, the importance of a number one wide receiver cannot be overstated. And they got a number one now in Stephon Diggs, and it has totally changed that offense. They are now explosive and dynamic offensively. And they were already trending in that direction last year with just John Brown and Cole Beasley. Now they add Stephon Diggs, and they added the kid Gabe Davis out of UCF. Man, the Bills, man. And you know how I feel about Dawson Knox. The Bills, man. And you know how I feel about Devin Singletary. The Bills, man. And Moss has been playing good ball, too. They're scary on offense. And I think it's going to be key that they get their linebackers back. I don't know the status of Milano and the Virginia Tech Edmonds line. I don't know the status of those guys. They can't miss this game, both of them. They need one of those boys back, at least one of them, for this play action fake game that's coming their way. But I'm gonna take the Bills, man. I got too much confidence in their ability to at least slow down the Rams offense, similar to what Dallas did in week 1. Hold these boys down a little bit And I think they're going to be able to score enough points to win. Give me Buffalo at the crib. Houston at Pittsburgh. 2-0 Steelers. 0-2 Texans. Everybody wants to talk about the Watts playing against each other. I don't give a shit about that. I don't care nothing about that. I care about getting this dub. That's what I care about. I just talked about 2 0-2 teams that are desperate. They're at home, though. And they're not playing 2-0 teams. So, well, the Falcons are. But they're at home, though. At least they're at home. Not so much for the Steelers. Man, the schedule makers. What did the Texans do last year? Did I miss something? I must have missed something. They must have done. And this might just be karma for Bill O'Brien. I don't know. I don't know these things. I don't keep up with these things, some of these things. I just know that they had a tough go of it. The first 3 weeks of the season, they played undefeated teams. Now, granted, those teams are all undefeated because they played the Texans. So is it the chicken or the egg? But no, these teams were good. We knew that coming in. We knew the Chiefs were going to be good. We knew the Ravens were going to be good. Those are the two best teams in the AFC. They had them in back-to-back weeks. Now you're going up against a 2-0 team in the Steelers that if they would have played the Steelers in either of the first 2 weeks, they would have beat them. They would have beat them. The Steelers were not good last week against Denver. The Steelers weren't great in week 1 versus the Giants. They happened to have a cupcake start to the season that allowed them to get off the 2-0 start. Conversely, the Texans had the opposite. They had a brutal start, and that's why they're 0-2. I got confidence last week watching Houston against the Ravens. I thought they played better defensively than they did in week 1. And really in week 1, they just said, Patrick Mahomes, you are not beating us deep. You're not. You're going to have to run the football because we're going to keep our safeties back and we're not going to allow you to get over the top of us. And they didn't. And so the Chiefs said, okay, well, cool. We'll just run it then. We got a running back now. We can run it. And they ran it. Excuse me. Last week, the defense said, hey, we going to hold it down. Offense, what you got for us? And the offense said, hey, man, we ain't got nothing for you. Hey, we sorry. We going to apologize in advance. We ain't got nothing for you. And so they were horrible last week on offense. And that was really what lost them the football game. Turnovers and failed fourth downs. You name it, they did it offensively last week. They sabotaged that game. Got to give credit to the Ravens, too. They're pretty damn good on the defensive side of the football. But I digress. The Steelers are really good on defense, too. So that's scary because they can get after the quarterback in Pittsburgh. And as we've seen with the Texans, they're not always the best at protecting Deshaun Watson. That being said, I'm not impressed with the Steelers offense at all. And I have told you that the Texans are a team that I expect to win that division, even though they've started 0-2. And that's a lofty statement. At this point, I'm a little nervous about that prediction, but I still think they're going to find a way to make the postseason, even if they don't win the division. Only way you're going to do that is if you avoid 0-3. Okay? They're desperate. You know how they're desperate? I heard today that Bill O'Brien is entertaining the thought of bringing in Antonio Brown. That's when you know shit is getting real. He's getting desperate out there, man. All right? When you start talking about bringing in wild cards like that, shit's getting real. But he wouldn't be able to play even if they brought him in right now. He's still serving an 8-game suspension. But they're floating around that idea, which means they're getting desperate. Desperate, most times, not good. In this particular situation, it is good. They need this one, and they need it bad. And I think this is when you get the best of Deshaun Watson. Now, he's going to be under duress. He's going to need guys to step up and make plays, and I think they're going to oblige. They're going to step up. They're going to make some plays. I think the defense is going to really stand up against that Steelers offense, and I think they're going to win this game. I'm taking the Texans on the road. They're 0-2. They cannot afford to fall to 0-3. And again, much like I said with the Bears, the Steelers want to win this game. They don't have to win this game. The Texans have to win this game. All right? They need to win this game. The Steelers don't. Now, I can tell you this. Either it's going to be one or two things in this game. Either the Texans are going to win a close game or they're going to get their asses whooped. So I'm either going to be really right or I'm going to be really wrong. Like, if they win this game, it's 23-20. It's 26-20. If they lose this game, it's 30-13. So it's one or the other. I hope I'm on the right side of things. Tennessee at Minnesota. I already told you about the Vikings, and they're 0-2, and they're playing a 2-0 team, and they're desperate just like Atlanta. They're desperate just like Houston and just like Philly. So they should win, right? Wrong. They stink. The Vikings stink. That's the difference. Yeah, Philly looks a little shaky, and maybe they stink too. But they're playing a funky 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals young football team. So they're going to get off the schneid. If they were playing Tennessee, if Philly were playing Tennessee, I'd take Tennessee. But they're not. They're playing Cincinnati. Unfortunately for Minnesota, they're not playing the little sisters of the poor like the Eagles are. They're playing a team coming off of the AFC Championship game last year, riding high with a bunch of confidence. They've won their first 2 games of this season, and they look damn good. And what we figured out in the first 2 weeks is that the Vikings can't stop anybody from doing anything. You want to run the ball? Colts ran it for over 100 last week. Their rookie running back went over 100 last week. Oh, you want to throw the ball? Oh, no. So you want to run the ball? You want to run the ball? Okay, yeah, you can do that. You want to throw it? Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers. What you have? 5 touchdown passes. What you have in the first week? 4, 5. Yeah, okay, yeah. You want to throw it? You can throw it. You want to run it? You can run it. You want to get after Kirk? Yeah. How many sacks y'all have? Oh, y'all only had 3 last week, Indianapolis. Oh, okay. But you forced how many turnovers? 4. 3 interceptions. Okay, all right. So what I was saying to you is, you can do whatever the hell. You can do whatever you like. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do against Minnesota right now. They have little or no resistance. So Tennessee's going to come in there. Derrick Henry's going to have about $150 on 23 carries for 2 touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill's going to have a modest game because they don't need it. They don't need him to go out there slinging it like he had to last week. Or even the week before where he threw it over 40 times. Last week, at least he kept it modest. It was like 26, 27 attempts or something like that. He's going to have one of them type of games. 14 of 20 for 186 yards and a touchdown because Derrick Henry's going to do the heavy lifting this week. They're just going to run the football down their throats. And they're going to win this football game comfortably. Give me Tennessee on the road to go to 3-0. And the Vikings to fall to 0-3 on the season. Shit's falling apart. I saw an article last week where they were trying to figure out how to get from under Kirk Cousins' contract so that they can get them one of these young boys coming out in the draft. I said, you can't do it. You can't do it. You're stuck. Have fun. Next, Carolina at the Chargers. This is going to be fun because Justin Herbert's getting another start. And I thought they were going to go back to Tower. First of all, we got to talk about this. I should have talked about this on the gym. How do you puncture your own player's lung trying to give him an injection to ease the pain? How do you do that? If that's not some Chargers shit, I don't know what is. We talk about the Chargers every year and how they're amongst the most banged up teams, and they got a bunch of guys on IR every year, and it's already started this year. And now you see this kind of chicanery and you realize, oh, that's the kind of shit y'all doing out there. No wonder your guys are falling left and right every year. You got incompetence in your medical staff. No wonder. You can't even administer a shot right. You tried to puncture this man's lung. Tyrod wants to know, where are these chest pains coming from? I thought y'all gave me a shot so I wouldn't feel this pain that I have in my ribs. Now, all of a sudden, I can't breathe. That's because this man tried to put a hole in your lungs with a needle. Okay? What are we doing here, guys? Seriously. Come on. You got to be better than that. Damn it, man. Anyway, I digress. We're getting another helping of Justin Herbert. All right? We're getting another serving of Justin Herbert. And that first serving, that was delicious. 311 yards passing, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown. Man, he was impressive. If not for that one boneheaded interception he threw, that was so unnecessary, you would look at him and say he had a banner day. And Chargers fans are hyped, and they should be, because that was a great start to his career. However, let's see you do it twice. And Carolina is ripe for the picking. He should get his first win of his career this week because Carolina isn't any good. And we said that before the season started. This isn't a surprise. But even more so now than a week before because there's no Christian McCaffrey. Man, I would love to get my Carolina Panthers game out of the way right now. Not now, like right now, with no McCaffrey in the lineup. Because what are they going to do for offense now? Seriously, what are they going to do? You know, Justin Herbert doesn't even have to be special this game. He had to be special last week for them to have a chance. They were playing the Chiefs. They're playing the Panthers right now. He doesn't have to be special this week. Austin Eckler and their young boy out of UCLA, those guys can handle the load this week. They don't need to be special. Fournette went over 100 yards last week on just 12 carries. They don't have to be special at the quarterback position this week. And I don't think they will be. But they're going to get the win, and that's all that matters. I'll take the Chargers at home. That stadium is so gorgeous. Did you see the color contrast between the Chiefs all red and the Chargers blue in that backdrop of that brand new stadium? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That was gorgeous. There were some stunning shots from that football game. They're just breathtaking. Take your breath away. Anyway, I digress. I'll take the Chargers. Jets at the Colts. Do I really need to do this? I'm not going to do this. I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to the next game. Dallas at Seattle. This might be. Oh, by the way, before I move on, the Colts are my survivor pick for week number 3. Just thought you should know that. Cowboys at the Seahawks. This might be the game of the week. And I'll take Bills and Rams, and obviously the Monday Nighter, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Obviously that's the game of the week. But if you're talking Sunday, because that's a Monday night game, if you're talking Sunday, that might be the game of the week for most people. If the Saints were right and they were 2-0 like they should be, that Packers Saints game on Sunday night was supposed to be a doozy, but I don't know. Kind of lukewarm on that one right now. This is where it's at right here. Cowboys at 1-1 coming off a dramatic victory. Everybody's riding their coattails right now. And they're dynamic offensively. I told you that, was kind of disappointed at their performance and output in week 1, but they showed what they're made of in week 2, even though they tried to give that game away. They scored 40 points. And so I told you that they were going to score 40 points multiple times this year. I told you that. I didn't expect it to be in week 3 against the Falcons, but then again, the Falcons can't stop anybody either. They gave up 38 in week 1, and now they gave up 40 in week 2. So they're struggling to stop anybody. And so the Cowboys did what they were supposed to do. And now they're going up against another team that can't really stop anybody. The Falcons threw the football all over the yard. Matt Ryan, 450 yards in that game in week 1. And then Cam Newton the following week looked like he couldn't throw, to anybody in week 1. Looked like he was going to have to run the football like they had a college offense. And he goes out for 397 and puts up 30 against the Seahawks. And so I'm definitely concerned because Dallas can score with the best of them. And my dad, who is a Cowboys fan, and I talked to him yesterday, he said, hey, we going in there and we going to win. And he's so confident, as he should be, because Dallas has had success against Seattle. Remember they beat them in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Remember, I always bring up the 2014 game because that was a big game. That's when Seattle was at the height of their superpowers. They had just come from going to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. They would ultimately go to the Super Bowl again that year. Remember, they had went to the Super Bowl and destroyed the Broncos the year previous. So in that 2014 season, they were at the height of their superpowers. They would make it back to the Super Bowl that year, but they would lose. We all know why. But they were at the height of their superpowers, and Dallas goes in there in 2014 and shocks the world and wins. Remember, that's when Seattle didn't lose at home. They just didn't. And that was the first time. That was the first time that we saw that there was a little bit of a chink in the armor at home when Dallas went in there with Tony Romo and beat them. So Dallas knows how to play Seattle for whatever that's worth. But Russ is on a different level, right? He's on a new level. And I just, for me right now, with the way Russ is playing, I just don't think Dallas has any answers. They gave up 39 to Matt Ryan last week. If you're going to give up 39 to Matt Ryan, what you think Russ about to do to you? So this is going to be a shootout. I think that this could easily be 36-30. This could be 33-30. This could be 36-33. Like, this is going to be fun. Because I don't think either one of these defenses are game to stop the other team's offense. I just trust Russell Wilson more than I trust Dak Prescott. And so when the game's on the line, I'm going with Russ. So I'm going with Seattle to get to 3-0 on the season. I'll take the Seahawks in what could ultimately be the game of Sunday. Detroit to Arizona. This is interesting because I think the Detroit Lions are going to get Kenny Golladay back this week. That's huge. I talked about what a number one wide receiver does for your offense. So that's massive. Arizona has been good to start the season, but I'm not overly impressed with Arizona. They're good, though. Don't get it twisted. They're a good football team. But I don't think they're ready for the show quite yet. But this is a great spot for them to go to 3-0 on the season. But much like I talked about with some of these 0-2 teams, the Lions aren't terrible. They're not. And they should have won in week 1 if their rookie DeAndre Swift could catch, which we know he can catch. I bet you he's still having nightmares about that drop. That won't go away for a really long time. But they're capable of going into Arizona. They should have beat them last year, week 1. They were up big, blew the lead in the fourth quarter, ended up tied in overtime, and ultimately played to a draw. All right? So Detroit is capable of going into Arizona. This is a different Arizona Cardinals team. That Arizona Cardinals team did not have DeAndre Hopkins. This one does. So it's a different team that they're going up against. That being said, I struggled with this one. I went back and forth because I think Detroit, they're desperate. And I think they're fully capable of going in there, throwing the football around the yard. My team just played Arizona last week. I was not impressed. I'm impressed with Kyler Murray. I am not impressed with their defense. I'm not impressed with their offensive explosion. They're not an explosive offense. They just got guys that make plays. That counts for something, but I think Detroit can hang around, and if they're not careful, they could steal that game. But I'm going with the safe pick here. I'm going with Arizona at home. Give me the Cardinals to get to 3-0. I just don't see Detroit falling to 0-3. I just don't. But I'm going to go with my head, even though my heart says, hey, man, Detroit, they're getting their guy back. They can win this game. My head is like, bruh, what are you doing here? Let's not be special. Let's not reinvent the wheel. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. And I'm not. Give me Arizona. Tampa Bay at Denver. This would have been a game a month ago when Von Miller was healthy, when Drew Lock was healthy, when Cortland Sutton was healthy. This would have been a game a month ago. Problem is the NFL season didn't start a month ago. It started 3 weeks ago. And so now this is not a game anymore. Jeff Driscoll will be starting at quarterback. Jerry Jeudy will now be assuming the number one wide receiver duties. And right now he can't catch claps in a whorehouse, as a wise man used to say. And it's rough out there for those boys in Denver. And so Tampa Bay got no problems going out there and getting a dub. They'll take care of business. Give me the Buccaneers to go to Denver and win. Green Bay at New Orleans, Sunday Night Football. This should have been hyped up a little bit more than what it's been, but because of the injuries, because the Saints haven't really looked like the Saints this season, and there's no Michael Thomas, and the Packers could be without Devontae Adams, this game doesn't feel like it should, but there's still a bad man in this game. And his name is Aaron Rodgers, and when the bad man comes to town, bad and scary things happen. Shit can get real spooky, like shit you see in a movie. And I've seen this movie plenty of times. And the bad man always survives. He's like Jason, man. Just when you thought you killed him, the bad man comes back. Stronger, faster, and more deadlier than ever. And they tried to bury my man last year. They went and drafted a quarterback. They said, hey, your time's almost up. He said, oh, yeah? Y'all trying to get rid of the bad man? Oh, I'm going to show y'all real scary shit then. All right? It's about to be a nightmare this year. blood everywhere, guts, gore, 9 yards. It could get ugly for the Saints this week if they're not careful. They got to play a lot better than they played on Monday because that was Derek Carr, and they still put up 34. This is Aaron Rodgers, and they've scored over 40 in their first 2 games. If the Saints aren't careful, this could get really, really bad really, really fast. I don't think it will, but I do think Aaron Rodgers, even if he doesn't have Devontae Adams, this is the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees right now, is Aaron Rodgers can still lift a team even if his number 1 receiver is not present. Drew Brees is not at that point of his career anymore. And so if this is a battle between veteran quarterbacks without their number 1s, I'm taking the bat, man. Give me Aaron Rodgers to go on the road, remain undefeated, and, oh, no, look at the Saints. This is why you can't lose to the Raiders on the road. Now you're 1-2. Tampa Bay's 2-1. Shit's getting ugly quick. What are you going to do? We're going to see. You better protect home. You better protect home. That's all I can say to you. But I'm taking the Batman. I'm not messing around with you. I ain't fooling around with you. I'm going with the Batman. Give me Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers. Finally, Monday Night Football. Chiefs. Ravens. The Kansas City Chiefs. And the Baltimore Ravens. This should be fun. A lot of fun. I'm not sure if this is the shootout that everybody thinks it is, though. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of points scored here. I really don't. I think this is going to be a game played in the 20s. I do. Now, I think the winner could get to 30, maybe 31. This could be a 31-27 game. This could be a 30-28 game. Sure. This is not going to be 38-33. This isn't going to be, 34-30. I don't see this game being played in the 30s. I see this game being played in the 20s. Let me start there. Also, I think the Ravens are really good, but I think they have a Chiefs problem. Now, they played the Chiefs really effectively, and they've had some success against them in the past, but they haven't won. They've just slowed them down and made it interesting. I still think we haven't seen the best of the Chiefs yet. We haven't seen the dynamic, explosive version of the Chiefs this season. Because in week 1, the Texans said, we're not allowing it. We're not going to have it. We're going to force you to run the football. You're going to have to take checkdowns. You're going to have to hand the football off. We're not giving up anything deep. Week 2, the Chargers just said, hey, look, you a family member. We know you. All right? You can't play us. We know you. We've been preparing for this for the last 6 months. That's why we did all the shit we did in the offseason. We ready for your ass. And they were. And it was hard hitting. And it was physical. And the Chiefs barely escaped with a dub. Now, the Ravens, I think they're just cocky enough to be like, hey, we about to try y'all, man. We're going to come after Patrick. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to try to get after him. We're going to go for it on 4th down. Bad move. That's bad news when you're playing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think they're going to try to out-chief the Chiefs. And that's not what you do. You play your game. Don't play theirs. See, when you get into playing the game that they want you to play, that's how you get got. Like, you don't want to get into a track meet. That's why if the Ravens are smart, this game is played in the 20s. You start trying to go up-tempo and you want to go for it on 4th down and Jim Harbaugh wants to come with that analytics bullshit, you will get your ass run out of your own stadium. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could because the Ravens are cocky enough for that to take place. Remember the last time these two teams played and Harbaugh wanted to go for it on every 4th down and he wanted to go for 2-point conversions left and right? Remember what happened in that game? That shit can happen again. Okay? That's what the Chiefs do, though. They force you to do stuff that you're not comfortable doing. They make you do other things. Don't play their game. If you're the Ravens, last time you played them, you tried to play their game. Don't play their game. Nobody's better at playing the Chiefs game than the Chiefs. That's why it's called the Chiefs game. Play your game. That means play some defense. Keep everything in front of you. Make these boys earn it. Be physical with them. Hit them. Hit Mahomes every time you get a chance. Tackle well. And when you get opportunities to score, take them. Yeah, look, we all want touchdowns. And in order to beat the Chiefs, you need touchdowns. But you know what also works? Scoring points on drives and getting stops. If you're not in a great position, if it's 4th and 6, why are you going for it? Punt the football. You know, if it's 4th and 1 and you're at your own 29, punt the football. Don't be stupid here. Let's not. I got it. You got Lamar Jackson. You got Ingram. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got all these guys that can pick up on y'all. I get it. I understand that. Let's not do that this week. Let's be smart about this. Okay. Let's be smart about these things that we do. Okay. Understand who the opponent is. I think that the Ravens are a really good football team. We've got questions about Lamar Jackson in the postseason. Hasn't won a postseason game. And I think when we get there, there are going to be comments. There are going to be questions. There are going to be some real pressure put on the Ravens to win a playoff game this year. I don't care how. They could go 15-1 in the regular season. Get that first round bye. Remember, only one in each conference this year. And that all will be erased come playoff time because they haven't won a playoff game. The first thing everybody's going to go to is, hey, y'all going to win a game this year or what? Yeah, you went 15-1 in the regular season this year. We know that. That's cool. Didn't you go 14-2 last year? Yeah, we know about that. About this playoff game, though. You going to win that thing? We going to get it. And this kind of feels like that same environment. I haven't seen Lamar Jackson respond in this type of environment yet. I'm going to take the team that I've seen respond in this environment. And maybe this is a statement game for the Ravens, and they take this thing. Very well, maybe that situation. But the Chiefs find ways to win. And they're going to lose some games this year. They're not going undefeated. I just don't think this is the game that they lose. I'm going to take the Chiefs on the road on Monday Night Football to take care of the Baltimore Ravens. So those are my week 3 money picks of the week. Am I confident in these picks? I'm not going to lie to you. Before Thursday night's game, I was more confident in these picks than I was in the previous 2 weeks. You saw how those picks turned out for me. Now I'm a little shaky. I've given you the reasons as to why I'm shaky. A lot of 0-2 teams that I'm banking on trying to get their first win of the season. That shit is scary, man. When you're banking on a winless team, they're winless for a reason. We'll see. This could get real ugly for me. I could easily be 9-7 this week. If I come back next week and I go 9-7 this week, I'm going to be pissed. Really, really pissed. It's not going to happen. I'm better than that. You know I'm better than that. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for the kid, man. 93rd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I done talked y'all head off. Talked y'all to death for the last hour and 30. I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I know y'all tired of hearing my voice. Anyway, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. You'll get some college football, some NBA playoffs. We're getting closer to the Major League Baseball playoffs. If you're a hockey fan, go ahead and get the rest of that Stanley Cup. And then we'll reconvene on Monday. Break it all down. Talk about all the carnage that ensued on Sunday. Take a look at the Monday night matchup. Preview that. Really get into the meat and potatoes of Ravens and Chiefs. And all of that good stuff. So I'm your man, Louie T. Signing off. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, you guys stay safe. Enjoy the weekend. And we'll reconvene on Monday. You guys have a good one.